Hello and welcome back to A Better World. This is your host, Mitchell J. Rabin, and we're very glad that you're joining us again today. Wasn't that magical? Well, you're very lucky today because we have the lyrical coloratura who was kind enough to sing to us all at Weil Recital Hall at Carnegie Hall to be with us today on the air. Raya Gonen, who originally from Lithuania and studied in Israel and then in the United States and Europe, is with us today to speak about her vast experience in the music world and her vast experience actually in life. So, very glad that you're joining us today, Raya.
Glad to see you too.
Good. It's really a pleasure to have you. Your concert.
Likewise, thank you.
Your concert was really magnificent.
Thank you very much.
Everyone there was just ecstatic. And people, I think, in particular, what distinguished it very much from other recitals that I have been to was your singing in Ladino. What was the song that we just heard?
Oh, well, this is a song. It's called Cuando el Rey Nimrod. It means when King Nimrod went to on the hills and he announced he gave Abraham Avinu the Torah.
Oh.
So this is something really exciting.
And did Moses do that in Ladino?
Well, the Ladino Jews, of course,
say yes?
Say yes.
Oh, really? For the audience, maybe we'll just define. Ladino is Spanish in Hebrew.
Right.
Is that correct? Just like
Right.
Yiddish is German in Hebrew.
Right.
Ladino.
It's a dialect that the Spanish Jewish people
Yes.
talked, and of course it's a little different from the Spanish. Some J's are pronounced and instead of h and things like that.
I see.
But that's the only dialect that they spoke. So
Yes. It's really a medieval language, is it not? In its origin?
the Ladino.
Yes. Do you
I think that the Sephardic Jews spoke it. Yes, even then.
Oh, I know they
Yes.
did. It's because
Yes.
I actually know someone whose grandmother spoke it as her first language.
Oh yeah.
And I know it
Yeah.
goes back in their family
Yes,
to medieval times.
That's
perhaps
definitely
even early
true.
medieval. Yeah.
So it's a
incredible.
lot of tradition there.
Well, you bring a tremendous amount of beauty and warmth to that language.
Thank you.
And
I
so-
love it.
Toda. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Let me show people this CD that Raya has just completed, which is the first of its kind, and it's of contemporary vocal music from Israel. And just take a look. It's very beautiful, and it will give you a chance to really hear Raya's beautiful voice up front. So we're very glad that you have made this available.
Thank you so
to people
much.
also. So first of all, would you just tell us a little bit, how is it that you got involved in music? You're now singing really around the world in some of the largest, greatest opera houses. In fact, before you tell us how you got into it, what roles are you doing these days that you particularly like?
Okay. This days recently, actually, I've done Marino Faliero, which is a rarity of Donizetti opera, which hasn't been actually done since
Donizetti.
almost. Yes, I think 20 years ago they did it, and the Washington Camerata Opera has revived it in a concert version. And it's an opera that was written, Donizetti wrote it just before he wrote Lucia, so it has a lot of elements that Lucia di Lammermoor has, a lot of coloratura, runs, and acrobatics of the voice, and the bel canto style.
Yes.
So it's this is what I've just done recent was a big success. I also I have an affinity for the bel canto repertoire because it really shows your voice in its pure form. It's like you have to have first of all a great technique to do that,
Yes.
and a great sense of style. You have to have a very good legato. It means a very good legato line, that one syllable connects to the next. Very vowelish.
Very vowelish.
Vowelish,
I like that. I like that.
Singing. And you know, you have more freedom as such as to really flourish on your artistry, because you're not so much all the divas that did the bel canto style.
Yes.
They took the time to do their little cadenzas and really express through the cadenzas the emotion of what was going on. So this is very much
Your style.
my style, what I
Yeah.
like to do.
Yes.
And also something important is that not that I love to do, you know, all the standard repertoire, which is Traviata and Mimi and Norina, all this wonderful. But you know, a lot of sopranos do this too, and I think that I'm fascinated with creating a really new role, which is Elena from Marino Faliero, which is Rossini's Mosè in Egitto, which I did the Elcia role.
Moses in Egypt.
Moses in Egypt, right. And I've done like Sarsuela with them too, and it's very unusual, very rarely done. And for me, it's like really
The
looking
arcane school of opera.
right.
in a
You're
sense.
looking at the score, and you say, "Well, how wonderful!" You know, that I don't have to compare myself to hundreds of other sopranos. I just can do it myself,
Sure.
and I think it's wonderful.
Well, that's a great thing, because most people do go for the standard repertoire.
Absolutely.
And how does one distinguish oneself when there are actually many fabulous singers
That's
that are
true.
out there? There
That's
really
true.
are.
That's true.
And most people are not so interested in taking risks, so to speak, and to pursue the rarer done
Repertoire,
operas.
yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, that's very
defi-
interesting.
Yes, I
That's good to
definitely
know.
want to have this niche and like to fit in it and really revive, well, you know, excuse me for the comparison, but like Maria Callas had done once, you
Pardon
know.
the comparison. We are now on another level.
Well, yeah, but you know,
Sure.
she actually revived operas that have never been done. And she dared, and that
Yes.
was wonderful. And after her, other people started to do it.
But you know,
And it
Raya,
came into the repertoire.
from the kind of point of view that we convey a lot on this show, it actually models a very fine point of view, mental state, and relationship to success, because you're willing to let yourself go for the very highest.
Yeah.
And Maria Callas is everyone's star.
Well,
on
she's
the
my
horizon.
idol, actually.
Oh
yeah.
yes, a nigam. Me too. So. To aim at that height and
Right.
not to be afraid to go for it
Right.
really speaks very well of you.
Thank you.
It's true, it's true. And on this show, also, as I told you before, we like for people to see that people are willing to reach for the stars and
Absolutely.
to show people who are doing it.
Yeah.
In fact, this might be really a very good moment for you to give us a little bit about your history. Because it also shows quite a formidable route to
Yes.
success.
Yes. Well, in short, I started.
You were born
actually,
in Lithuania.
I was born in Lithuania. That's right, and I was I immigrated with my family to Israel when I was 6 years old. So actually, my roots are mostly in Israel. I would say, on my upbringing, my education, my childhood experiences, everything is Israeli. And of course, the Russian impact. My parents spoke it at home, and
So Russian was your first language?
Russian was my first language, right? And I speak it still, though not so well, but but I still can get along well with it. So I actually studied in Israel, and I went to pursue a career, not music career, not because I didn't like music. I love music, but
You used to sing for potatoes in Lithuania.
absolutely, absolutely. But
didn't
you know
know
what? This is funny because my mother said that when I was about 3 years old or something like that, I loved potatoes. And anyway, they didn't have too much to offer, so potato.
You better love what you had.
Right, and I went to neighbors' doors and knocked on their doors. Say, if you give me a potato, I'm gonna sing for you. So
this was in Vilna?
This was in Vilna, right. So I was just singing since real childhood, early childhood.
That's fantastic. It's a great story, a shtetl story. From way back.
you know. And then when I came to, I loved music. I played the piano, I sang, but I never really thought about it as a career or a profession, you know. And my parents actually didn't encourage me so much to do that because it's a profession that has a lot of risk, and you know you can't make a lot of money of that, and it's unstable. They wanted me to be a teacher or as a lawyer or something that will have
more certainty.
More certainty, definitely. So you know,
but not nearly as much fun.
Oh, of course not. And I went to the University of Haifa, and I have a degree in English literature and language, in which after I finished this degree, I started to teach English for high school kids.
In Israel?
In Israel.
And then what happened
and after 2 years, I thought, oh my God, no, this is not for me. Though I invested 4 years in studying English and everything about it, I loved it, the literature, the language, everything about it, but I'm not a teacher. I don't want to be a teacher. And the kids, you know, I was maybe 3 years older than the kids that were 17, 18. I was miserable. And I said, no, that's not it. I have to go back to music, which I really love. And after all this, I have to make, there was something in between. I didn't immediately go to music, back to music. I was doing modeling.
I see.
I was a model. Since I loved aesthetics, and it was some kind of contact with the audience. I needed something.
It excited you.
It excited me. And what I was doing, I was teaching in the morning, I was modeling in the evening on the runway, and I was taking voice lessons.
And you also went to have your eyes examined.
Oh, that's right.
It's a meaningful statement.
Okay.
You'll see momentarily.
So I was doing that for 7 years. And then my voice started to get better.
Mm-hmm.
And then one day my voice teacher said, "You are doing too many things. You have to concentrate. If you really want to sing and do it seriously, you have to drop everything else. And you have to go and study and seriously at the Academy of Music at the Rubin Academy in Tel Aviv." So I made a decision, and I went there, and I was accepted. And since then, for 4 more years, I was the first to come and the last to go. I was just fascinated. I thought, that's it. After, I don't know how many years, 11 years, I discovered really my real vocation.
Right, your real niche.
Absolutely. And I was not too young then. I was in my late 20s then. So I'm a late bloomer, I would say. And then that was it. And after I finished the academy, I went to Italy and I went to Germany to study, to apprenticeships. I was in the Munich Staatsoper apprenticeship. I was 2 years in Munich. And then from there I went to Milan and coached with the major coach from the Scala.
Oh.
So, you know, I had met many important people. I worked also with Elizabeth Schwarzkopf for a year. So, you know, I acquired some experience and definitely learned a lot. And then we came back to Israel. And since then, I was doing, working with major companies in Israel, orchestras, the National Israeli Opera, and doing recitals and concerts and ensembles, chamber music and other things.
That's right. In fact, the concert that you've recently done here was sponsored by the Israeli consulate, I understand.
That's right. That's right.
major cultural attaches for the United States
That's
from
right.
Israel.
Absolutely, and was for the 50th anniversary of Israel.
Yes.
So it's one of
Mazel
the
tov.
one of
Yeah.
their activities, musical activities.
Wonderful. But that was here. In other
Yes.
words, it was
Oh yes, it was, and
it's
you'll be amazed.
transatlantic.
Yes, much more is happening here for Israel, like 50th anniversary,
Really?
than there. Absurd, but yes, that's
Wow.
like it.
Isn't that something?
All kinds of budget problems and all kinds of
Yeah.
administrative other problems.
Right. Too
there.
many bombs, not enough music.
I think so. And here they're
Yeah.
celebrating it in every field, so it's great.
Oh, that's wonderful. So it was through that. So
Yeah.
you're here celebrating, and certainly there are many Jewish people in New York and in this country
Right.
who would love to be able to celebrate and not
Absolutely.
necessarily go to Israel. So you
Oh yeah.
brought it to our doorstep.
Right, and this is really a pioneer recording, actually. This one, because this recording is the first to be out that celebrates Israeli art songs, which are not familiar at all in the United States. They are familiar, known in Israel, but not so much here.
How old are art songs in Israel?
Right. Well, they are not too old. They're maybe
It's really in the last
very
50
new.
years?
Absolutely, the last 50 years since Israel's.
So there are no Palestinian art songs that we know of?
No. The influences are definitely Arabic. There's some Hasidic influences of the music that they picked. As the composers picked as living in the country, and there was so many lots of variety of cultures in
Sure.
Israel that Jews came from all kinds of places. The Arabic, they sang their own songs. The Russians sang the Russian songs to Hebrew words, lyrics.
Sure.
So
but with the Russian or Arabic musical influence.
that's right.
Feel.
So absolutely. So what the
Nice.
composers did were picked these elements and they molded it into something which is Israeli, really Mediterranean. It has a little modal flavor, not very much the Western European musical flavor.
Oh, that's
So-
wonderful. That's wonderful. So you're between the art songs that you're just referring to and your relationship and affinity with Ladino.
Yes.
You are really, in a sense, even within this world, you are outside of the ordinary.
Yes, I would say so. I really like, not besides the bel canto repertoire in opera, I love operetta and the lighter style, because I'm a good actress and it's this little musical theater, but more European. I'm not so familiar with American musical theater. But I love repertoire which is, again, a little bit obscure because of its interest, because of its rarity, that you can give so much of yourself, more than you can give to any interpretation, the greatest interpretations of Schubert's music or Schumann's or Brahms, you name it. And that's why I do, let's say, I'm very good at languages too. I speak many languages. So then I sing in these languages, like Russian songs. It's in my background. I refer to them. I can commit to them. And Polish, since I speak Polish too. Like, so a lot of people, they didn't know that the Chopin wrote songs, and he did, and they're fabulous. So I have
What you're doing, I mean, one of the things you're doing, being of the international elite that you are,
thanks.
you are actually helping to bring together culture. When you were referring to the art songs
Right.
that have Arabic influence, Russian influence, especially if you think about the real world in which we're living today, where there is so much hostility between, I would say, governments more than actual
And people,
peoples.
yes.
music is one of those places where people really come together.
Absolutely.
And by weaving the sound, the actual fabric of the music, with taking Hebrew lyrics with Arabic feel,
Absolutely.
or Russian,
Yeah.
you're creating this melange
Yes.
that
yes.
is really, I think, perhaps presaging where we're all going.
That's right.
Which is, I like to think, is a time of peace,
Of peace
where
and-
everyone is enjoying each other's inputs
Absolutely.
and cultural expression.
Right.
And
I
I mean,
agree.
everybody always loves borrowing in the world of art from, like, jazz musicians in the United States love African rhythms or Indian rhythms, and
Yes.
they incorporate
Yes.
that,
Yes.
and vice versa. I mean, a lot of other ethnic groups love rock and roll even,
Yeah.
and borrow from that. And I mean, even Wagner. I mean, the Germans borrow from the Italians.
Yes.
It happens on many subtle levels.
Yes.
And I mean, I just feel good about what it is you're doing in this way. It's a subtle message, but no less real,
Absolutely.
about
Absolutely.
how music is a language that
Everyone
knows.
very much so, and
Because it's a language of the
Yeah,
soul. It's a language
that's
of the
true.
hearts.
more than theater, more than anything, I think, really.
Yeah.
You, if you're colleagues with any nationality, it just doesn't matter. You're there and you sing and you refer to the same things, and it just
Sure. Well, I know, mime, dance, and
and
music.
music. That's right.
These are
That's right.
funny. Music, in some way, is a nonverbal communication.
Absolutely, and it doesn't matter which language you sing in.
Right.
It just doesn't matter.
And the other thing, interesting, if I may just comment,
Sure.
because we have covered this a lot on our show here, is the healing nature of music.
Oh yeah.
It's
wow.
some astounding observations have been made and documented scientifically of the effects of sound on the human body
Yeah.
and on the skin and our heart rate and the way it works with us
Oh,
from a point of view of
incredible.
stress.
Incredible.
But even, it sounds funny, but even
Yeah.
nutrition. There
Oh,
are
yeah.
ways that sound literally nourishes
Yeah.
us cellularly.
Yeah.
And that
Oh,
you're
I
mixing
believe
languages
that, definitely. Like people
and
get
styles. It's powerful.
absolutely. I agree with you.
A well-rounded diet.
People have goosebumps when they hear a certain
Okay.
song, or they become very sad and very happy if they hear
Sure,
some. So
exactly.
definitely,
It's emotional catharsis.
that's true. And well, we don't have to go too far. We know now that, like, even babies in the womb,
Oh, yeah.
this has been researchers that say, a pregnant woman should listen to calming music, and the baby is going to not be
That's
calm.
right.
And
certain pieces of classical music,
Yeah,
and in
yeah.
particular Mozart, actually,
Right,
has
right,
been recognized
right.
as having an incredible
And
effect.
if we speak about healing, I really have to introduce, I think, a really important, I would say, side of my musical doing, and this is the Holocaust music.
Oh.
I'm a survivor of Holocaust parents, and very much interested in what was written in the camps, about the camps, and amazingly interesting are the Terezin composers at the Theresienstadt ghetto. I was performing these songs and the Warsaw Ghetto, songs that were written in the Warsaw Ghetto, at the 50th, I don't know if to call it anniversary, but 50 years to the Warsaw Ghetto, the rebellion in Warsaw Ghetto, which was, I think, 3 or 4 years ago. And I sang it in the Jewish communities. In San Diego, in Orange County.
Jewish community centers.
Right. In some synagogues, and in some in Stockton chamber players here in Stockton, New Jersey, and the Yom HaShoah, the Holocaust Day, actually.
Okay.
And it is, for me, it was really some of catharsis. It was a healing, and the experience to the audience was
course.
very much a healing, through
bet.
listening to
Bet.
that music.
It's an event.
So yeah,
Everyone participates
Right.
who is present.
Absolutely, and of
Yeah.
course it has a special meaning to me since I
course.
identify so deeply with this music.
Exactly. Thank you so much for sharing. I
Thank
hate to
you.
tell you, but we are just about out of time. And it's been just wonderful to hear your stories
Oh,
and
thank you
to
very
hear
much.
about your life and
Thank
the
you.
work you're doing. And I want to truly encourage you to keep it up and keep singing to us all.
Oh, I will. I
Okay.
definitely will.
Sure, good. And we'll be looking for you.
Thanks. Thank you very much.
Sure.
I'll be there.
Excellent. We want to thank Wild Recital Hall at Carnegie Hall, and we want to also thank the Israeli Consulate for their efforts in bringing Raya Gonen to Carnegie Hall recently. And happy anniversary, Israel. Thanks for joining us. This is Mitchell J. Rabin for a Better World. Please give a call at 212-420-0800. Share your thoughts and feelings. I love hearing from you and look forward to seeing you all next week.